Okay everyone, thank you for joining us again. Today we're doing the rear brakes on the, I believe it was the Suburban, the 2002 Suburban. And it's kind of interesting how the front and the rears are a little different. If you notice, these have bolts rather than those Torx heads. So much harder to release. But the rear ones are, the rear is a 12. For the calipers, and basically they're double piston ones. So let's see. Okay, there we go. One there. Can you see it? Focus. There we go. And then focus right there. Yeah. So we got that loose with the 12. Let me get the bottom one loose here. And we're just okay. There we go. Just squeeze the caliper a little bit, and then we're going to try to pull it out once the bolts come loose here. Let's see. And then we're going to set it over here on the spring, the bump stop perch. There we go. And just set that aside right there, and the mount, rather than hanging, that'll be safe. And somebody did the brakes a while ago, but it just does not look good, and it didn't ever stop oil. So we're going to do it, and we're going to hopefully do it better than they did. But plenty of meat left on it. Lots of rust and decay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the bracket bolts off. And again, very tight clearance here, so we're going to have to probably just do it manually, okay? I'm going to swing you over, and if you look, there's the bracket bolts right there. Okay, so I have my 18 on my ratcheting breaker bar. Flex it, and we'll see. Oh, nope. Oh, that's tight. Okay, let's see if we can get something else on it, because that doesn't want to move. Yeah, that's on there real good and tight. So let's try just a regular breaker bar. This is my, the Pittsburgh one. And then we're just going to try to get everything we can on it. There we go. That moves. Oh yeah, nothing like leverage, okay, to get something moving. We'll get a couple turns, and then we'll get the bracket off, okay? Let me try this one here and see what happens to this one. The one right on top here, because we have the other bracket bolt right here. And again, very low clearance, so we're gonna try it this way. There we go. Oh yeah, that's tight. Okay, I'm gonna get you out of the way. All right, here you go. Oh yeah, did you hear that? Oh, that's not good. Don't want to break it. There we go. It's loose. So now we can use the regular size ratchet, and we'll get that bracket off. Okay, and get you back. Okay, it looks like that was probably original, because that thread locker is still looks like it's the factory one. It was under pretty good, but we'll get it all cleaned up. We'll get the we'll see, make sure that these all work and they look okay. We're gonna clean them up, the glides, and all right. So first we're gonna start with I just wire brushed everything, but I'm gonna first clean out the pins and we'll break clean. And I like these pins better because I know that I can grease it and get it in, unlike the other ones in the front. Not as well liked by me, but hey, and a little bit of the silicone paste, just a little bit. I mean, it's cold, so it's a little thick, but hey, it should work. There we go. Just a little bit. Get it back in there. Make sure it rotates. Make sure it slides good. And make sure the boot's over it all the way down. There we go. And then I want to make sure that the boot is actually on there, right? Because the last thing I want is just some stuff on it. So let's make sure. Yeah, so get the air out. And we're going to situate that boot. That boot doesn't look good right there, so I'm gonna just get some air out of that. Yeah, there we go. Pop the back side, get it to seat nice, and then we'll pop it back down once it seats like so. And then I'll take the air out and then seat it on the back side here. There we go. Alright, now that's seated and the rubber boot's good. Let's get this one. And that boot is torn, so I'm going to have to talk to him about getting a new boot kit and then replacing it. Because look, can't have torn boots here, because that's not good. That's not going to keep the weather out, and it's not going to keep these pins lubricated long term. So yeah, so we're going to have to replace that boot on this one for sure. But I can get at least part of it done, and then we'll talk about, getting this thing redone here, because that boot is all messed up. So we're gonna have to. Okay, so we're gonna have to talk to him about getting a new boot for this one. But having said that, I did the wire wheel on it, so I'm just gonna touch it up with a hand file just to get sure that the corners are usually a pain to get into and hard to get to, and that's it. And so it looks pretty good now. Okay, wheel greased up, that's good. And let's get the hardware and load it and go from there. Alright, so here's the one to the rear, and that's not right. Oh, this is not right. No, that's not right. That's not right. Okay, well, we're going to have to hold off on this because that's not the right part. Okay, so let's see. Alright, here's what I took off. And yeah, I think somebody pulled the wrong part. Okay, so that's not even close. But at least, hey, it'll give us a little opportunity to get a new some hardware here, okay? Alright, well that pretty much kills our day until I can get some new parts from the guy, okay? So, oh well, such is life. Well, this job is to be continued, okay? So, we'll be back. Alright, so now I took the rotor off, I took those clips off, and I'm just going to clean up around the surface here, because it is a little rusty. And we're going to hit a little brake clean. And I'll clean up the shop later. We'll take a look. There seems to be no leaking. Alright. Alright, so let's get the new rotor on. Alright, we're going to continue to do what we can do. And so I'm going to put the new rotor on. I hope that it fits. I think it should. There we go, nice and home. We'll use a lug nut to hold it in place. There we go, nice and firm. Everything's clean. Now we're going to wipe it down. Let's see. A little brake here on the outside. And then we're going to wipe it all down on the back side there. I want to make sure that's on tight to make sure that we get good. And we'll just clean off any of the residue from what we've done and get all the oil spots off. And then let's put the bracket on. At least that I know I can do. And then we'll wait for the pads to arrive, okay? Alright. Alright, I'm going to put the bracket back on. We are still waiting for... I still got to wait for that new boot. But I'm going to put this together for now. And then put the boot on and then also the hardware and everything before, you know, going any further than that. So I'll put a little Loctite on the bolts here, and then we'll get them in, we'll run them in, and then we'll wait for the other things to arrive. Okay, so let me go tighten that up. The 18 mil, I'm going to use my little ratchet here. Make sure we're going in the right direction here. The little short ratchet, super easy. Okay, and then we're going to tighten those down, and then we'll wait for the new pads to arrive with the hardware, okay? Alright. Alright guys, finally got a new boot. It's not exactly 100%, but it does work, it seals, and the pin looks good now, okay? No more leaks. I also got the new hardware in place, you can tell. Okay, new hardware in place. So let's get the pads on, and let's get the caliper in place, okay? To finish this job finally. It only took 90 days. Okay, so okay, looking at the pads, we got that. Let's see which one is there any difference? Nope, they all look the same. No. And then let's see. I'm gonna put this one here, slide it in through the hardware like so. Okay, that looks good. And let's see if the ears go a different way. The ears are all going the same. I want the ears to drag if I can. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna put the scrapers on the bottom end. We lubed it, got it all in there. Oh yeah, nice. Okay, and let's see if we can get that one to go in. And if it doesn't, then we're gonna have to do something else. Okay, so that's it. Let's see. That one does not like to go in for some reason. Okay, you know what? There's some blunt, there's some sharp ends here. So I'm gonna just take off a little bit, okay? Alright guys, we're getting the pads in there. I shaved off a little bit. The ears were a little bit ragged. But there it is, man. And then I've already compressed the piston for the caliper, and we're just gonna bring it in here like so. Perfect. And then we'll just put the bolts on and torque those down. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, I've got some new brake fluid. We're going to bleed the whole thing and get rid of all the old stuff. And then this should be $1,000,000 as the saying goes. Alright guys, thanks again for following along. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for subscribing to the channel. Have a wonderful afternoon. Take care now. See you all later, okay? Bye now.